For as long as I can remember, I've believed that the act of putting ink to paper or typing a line into a document was my own private sanctuary, an intimate refuge where I could pour every raw emotion, every unfiltered truth into the world without fear of judgment. However, in recent weeks, that once trusted sanctuary has morphed into an unsettling trap, where each sentence I craft is suddenly under scrutiny. Each revision feels as though a pair of unseen eyes is silently evaluating me, and the very act of editing becomes a nervous dance with an invisible critic. The cracks began to surface when I realized that the words I once used to console myself were being reshaped in my head. An innocent phrase that should have calmed my nerves, instead morphing into an accusing note that labels me as too sensitive and undermines my own sense of worth. It became painfully clear that I was falling prey to gaslighting. The internal voice that once carried my genuine thoughts and feelings was being systematically replaced by a warped echo. One that whispered doubts, labeled my emotions as irrational, and subtly convinced me that I was losing my sanity. The stark, unforgiving truth is that I'm not alone in this. Countless writers, artists, and women across the globe wrestle with the same invisible pressure. And the gaslighter can be any familiar face, whether a close friend, a romantic partner, or even a critical reader, whose words seep into our creative core. At the peak of this struggle, I find myself drowning in a relentless wave of self-doubt. My manuscript forever stalled mid-draft, and the simple act of editing has become an almost forbidden ritual, as the gnawing dread that I am not good enough claws at my very resolve. My turning point arrived with a single piercing quote that reframed everything. The only thing standing between you and your truth is the story you tell yourself. That sentence planted a seed of possibility in my mind, a reminder that my own narrative, not an external voice, holds the power to either imprison or liberate me. Emboldened, I chose to rewrite the very narrative that had been holding me hostage, no longer to accept the role of a passive victim, but to assume the position of an empowered creator who deliberately selects which stories to welcome into my world. By consciously editing that script, I realized I could finally silence the gaslighter's relentless commentary. The first concrete step in my resolution involved labeling each intrusive thought as my own fear rather than the gaslighter's distortion, jotting down the specific triggers that set off this internal dialogue, and establishing a deliberate, calming edit ritual, an intentional pause that lets me step back from the pressure before I return to my work. For anyone who's currently feeling gaslit, here's a gentle yet powerful exercise. Draft a brief letter addressed to that inner voice that insists you're inadequate. Read it aloud to yourself, and then close the book. In that quiet moment, affirm that your own truth, your authentic, unfiltered self, is the sole narrative that truly deserves your attention. Zooming out, we all inhabit a metaphorical room brimming with mirrors, some of which faithfully reflect our essence, while others distort and warp it. The crucial decision we face is choosing which mirrors we allow into our personal space, thereby choosing the ones that reveal our authentic self, rather than the ones that simply echo external expectations. Drop a comment below telling me what's been gaslit in your life. Let's rewrite the story together. Subscribe for more honest writing tips.